Hello there, my dear garden-loving friends. Truth is, many houseplants don't die from thirst. They struggle because unused fertilizer and minerals from hard water build up as soluble salts. You can't see it at first, but those salts interfere with root function and slowly stress the plant. We're going to fix that in one calm session. I'll walk you through a gentle leaching flush, about 5 times the pot's volume, because that much water dissolves and carries salts out through the drain holes. No fancy gear, a sink, a pitcher, and a steady pour. 5 minutes to reset the soil and stop the browning edges. Here's the secret behind why this works. The invisible burn is what's really at play here, my friends. Your leaves look thirsty, but the real villain lurks in the soil. Quiet, tasteless, and slow. Leftover salts. Here's the secret. Every time we feed a plant or use hard tap water, we add minerals. The plant takes what it can use. The rest remains in the potting mix as unused fertilizer and dissolved minerals. It doesn't vanish. It dissolves in the water, then concentrates as that water dries. Over weeks, those extra nutrients and minerals build up as soluble salts right where roots live, so we see brown edges and assume drought. We add more water. That quick sip dissolves some salts and pushes them around the root zone. It feels helpful, but the solution gets stronger down low. Roots sit in it. They can't regulate well. They quit absorbing like they should, and the leaves look even more stressed the next week. Think of a mug with too much drink mix stirred in. When the cup dries, it leaves a crust on the rim. Soil can do something similar, but here's the important part. The crust and pockets form because extra fertilizer and minerals stay behind and concentrate as salts. Water moves up and out. The salts stay, they cake on pot edges and collect in pockets in the mix. That residue doesn't taste like anything to us, but it's rough on tender root tips and disrupts how roots pull in water and nutrients. You'll notice hints that often get blamed on underwatering, crispy tips that keep creeping in, margins that brown while the center looks dull and flat. New leaves come in small, or they pause halfway and stall. You water on schedule, but growth doesn't respond. That is classic salt stress behavior. Now, my dear garden-loving friends, let's talk about light. Many plants sold as low light aren't shade lovers. They're tolerant, not happy. They still want bright, indirect light to run their engines. In weak light, metabolism slows. The plant doesn't eat as much. Fertilizer sits in the mix unused and the salt level climbs. In low light, feed sparingly, about once a year. In medium light, 2 to 3 times a year is enough. In high light, you can step up to roughly 4 times a year. That simple pacing keeps nutrition in step with growth and stops salts from piling up. I want to ease your mind. You didn't lose your touch. You didn't water wrong out of neglect. Chemistry just got ahead of your plant's needs. The good news is we can rebalance it. Gently, no big tools, no messy repotting this minute. We'll use water the right way and let gravity do the work. We'll do a calm 5-minute reset that rinses the problem away. It's a steady, thorough wash that moves salts down and out of the drain holes. Not a soak, not a dunk, a clear pass, start to finish. It feels simple because it is, and it works even better when we pair it with the right light and less fertilizer in slow seasons. So what's actually causing the burn? Unused fertilizer and minerals from hard water build up as soluble salts in the pot. Those salts pull moisture away from root tips and interfere with nutrient flow. The plant can't sip or feed like it wants to. Leaves show stress at the edges first, then the whole blade dulls. Left alone, the mix turns harsher month by month. Before we start rinsing, let's make sure salts are the issue. A quick, no-cost look and a simple touch test will tell us what we need to know. Let's move into a quick, clear check you can do right now, the 1-minute salt check. You don't need a lab. Your fingers and a pinch of white crust tell the story. Here's the secret. We'll do a simple 2-step check. First, scan for crust on the rim and soil. Then feel near the drain holes where salts like to hide. It's fast, it's gentle, and it tells us if salts are the reason those leaf tips look tired, especially if the plant seems to decline slowly despite your regular care. Topsoil can fool us. It often stays a bit damp from misting or light watering. Down below, where roots live, salts collect as water evaporates. That's the zone that matters. We're going straight there with a steady hand and a calm touch. Tip the pot just a little so you can see the edge in the saucer. Look for a pale ring on the lip, like dried baking soda on a bowl. Scan the top layer of mix. Do you see tiny white grains near the edge? That's step 1. Light, quick, and honest. Now step 2. If your pot has side drainage holes, slide a finger in gently. If not, use the lowest inch of soil. Move slow. You're feeling for grit, not mud. A sandy, scratchy texture down low hints that salts are concentrating where roots sit. Pair that with leaf tip burn or margin browning that keeps creeping in, and you've got a strong clue. If you'd rather not use your finger, try a wooden skewer or chopstick. Push it into the lower zone at an angle. Count a slow 60, then pull it out and check. A white film on the wood is a quiet yes. Dark, heavy wetness tells you where moisture sits and how deep salts might be pooling. It's a small move that gives a clear answer without disturbing roots. You may also see a chalky ring on the saucer or along the drain holes. That whisper of white is classic mineral residue from hard water and fertilizer. It builds where the last drops dry. This is plain, visual proof that salts are camping out in your setup and need a ride out. Leaf tips speak early. When soluble salts start to bite, tips burn and margins brown before the rest of the leaf fades. It's a gentle first alarm. If you see that and you find grit or crust, you've connected the dots. The plant isn't thirsty. It's stressed by a strong solution in the root zone. And if the plant looks dull week after week, smaller new leaves, stalled growth, despite steady watering and routine care, that decline supports what your eyes and hands are finding. Keep your touch light. We're checking, not digging. A slight wiggle tells you a lot. How compact the mix feels, whether water is channeling, and if residues cling to the tool. Clean the skewer after and set it aside for next month's check. That tiny stick becomes a trusted gauge. For a tiny home demo, lift the saucer and look underneath where drips dry. A thin, whitish outline stays behind when the water leaves. That's our clue. Simple and free. My dear garden-loving friends, small signs like these save plants and save us time. Now we put the clues together. A chalky rim or saucer ring, a gritty feel in the low zone, a skewer with a dusty white coat, and steady tip burn confirm salt buildup. No meters, no kits, just a calm look and a careful touch. Ready to clear it out? We'll reset the mix with a steady rinse that moves those salts straight out the drain holes. Let's put a calm, practical tool in your hands right now. The 5-minute soil flush, a sink, a pitcher, and 5 calm minutes. This resets your soil like a clean slate. Here's the secret. Leaching is just a steady rinse that carries dissolved salts out through the drain holes. We aren't dunking. We aren't soaking. We're letting clean water flow through the mix so the salts dissolve, move down, and leave the pot. It's simple. It's gentle. And it gives roots room to breathe again. Many of us hold back because we fear overwatering. That fear is fair, my dear garden-loving friends. But a thorough flush is not the same as letting the pot sit in a puddle. Overwatering happens when roots stay wet without air. A proper flush runs water through and then lets it drain away. Fresh water in, salt water out. Air returns as the pot drains. That is the difference. And it only works in containers with real drainage holes. If your plant lives in a decorative cover, keep it in a nursery pot inside so excess water can escape every time. Step 1. Move your plant to a sink or tub. Lift it out of the decorative cache pot if you use one. Take off the saucer. We want a clear path for water to escape. Set the nursery pot on a small rack or an upside-down bowl so the drain holes aren't pressed flat. This one detail speeds the whole process and keeps runoff from touching the base. Step 2. Pre-wet to stop channeling. Pour slowly until you see the first trickle, then pause for about 30 seconds. That brief soak opens dry pockets so the main flush reaches all the soil, not just old path. Step 3. The flush. Use about 5 times the pot's volume. Pour in a steady, even stream. Move the pitcher around the surface so all sides get a turn. Keep the flow smooth rather than fast. Think of rinsing rice until the water runs clear. That's our cue that salts are leaving. If the pot is very dry, split the flush into 2 passes with a short pause between them. It still counts. Safety first. Let the water drain fully. Don't set the pot back in its runoff. Empty the saucer right away if any water collects. We never want the plant to drink the salts we just washed out. Give the pot a few extra minutes on the rack so gravity can finish the job, then return it to its spot. As the last of the water flows, do a mini check. Wipe the rim of the pot with a damp cloth to lift any white crust. If you use a clear saucer, glance at the drips. They usually look cloudy at first, then clearer near the end. That little change is our quiet win. Salts are moving out. Roots can relax. How much water for a 6-inch pot? Use about 5 times the pot's volume. A standard 6-inch nursery pot holds roughly 1.5 to 2 quarts of mix, so plan on about 2 gallons for a full, even flush. It sounds like a lot. It's not wasteful. It's a reset that prevents costly repotting and lost leaves later. Set the pot back only when it's no longer dripping. Hold fertilizer for at least 6 months after a flush. The mix is clean, and roots need a calm pause before any feeding. You'll see better color and softer edges as the plant takes up water at a gentle pace. From here, our next quiet upgrade is what we pour. The right water helps keep salts from creeping back between resets. So let's talk about what we pour. My dear garden-loving friends, keep it clean. Water choices that help. The water you use can either wash salts away or add more with every sip. Here's the secret. Not all water is the same for houseplants. Tap water in many homes is hard, which means it carries dissolved minerals that linger in the potting mix. Softened water is different. Many home softening systems swap hardness minerals for sodium, and that sodium can negatively affect plant health over time. Rainwater and filtered water come in cleaner, so they don't load the soil with extra baggage each time you water. Let's sort the choices. Regular hard tap water works in a pinch, but it nudges the salt level up little by little. Softened water is convenient, but the sodium adds up and makes tender roots uneasy. Rainwater is the calm option option. Light, gentle, and easy for roots to take in. Filtered water sits in the middle. It removes a portion of the minerals, so it's kinder than hard tap for day-to-day care. If your tap runs hard, rotate in rainwater or filtered water whenever you can. Use it for your monthly or quarterly flushes. Use it on routine days too, even if you split the week. Tap once, filtered next time. Small swaps move the needle. Over a season, the soil stays cleaner and leaves hold their edge color longer. Some of us set tap water out overnight before watering. That's a general practice many growers use to let chlorine dissipate a bit. It won't remove minerals, but it can make the water feel gentler on foliage and roots. If it fits your routine, keep a can ready by the sink. If not, focus on the bigger lever. Choose water with fewer dissolved salts whenever possible. Humidity plays a quiet support role. Dry rooms push plants to drink more often, which brings more minerals into the pot. A simple pebble tray or a small humidifier near your group of plants can lift local humidity enough to slow how often you need to water. Fewer waterings mean slower salt buildup. Keep it simple and steady. Now let's talk technique. Avoid constant tiny sips. Those quick sprinkles dissolve salts and pull them into the root zone without carrying them out. When you water, water through. Give the soil a full drink until water runs from the drain holes. Then let the excess leave. This single habit does more to control salts than any gadget in the house. Drainage is non-negotiable, my dear garden-loving friends. Always use containers with holes at the bottom. If you love a pretty cover pot, slip a nursery pot inside it. Water freely, let it drain in the sink, then return it to the cover. This keeps roots airy and stops runoff from pooling and drying into a crust under the pot. Think of a steady rain rinsing dust off a porch. A thorough wash removes what a quick splash leaves behind. Clean water choices, paired with a proper pour, keep salts from creeping back fast. Over weeks, you'll see fewer crispy tips and steadier color. New leaves unfurl without those tired edges. With water handled, we can make sure what we feed lands at the right time, in the right amount, so nutrition helps instead of piling up. So let's turn to the quiet partner in all this. Feed without fallout. Here's the secret. Fertilizer is food, but only when your plant is actually hungry. Plants get an appetite with longer days. When light stretches in spring and early fall, you'll see fresh tips, new leaves, and steady reach. That's your green light. Most tropical houseplants wake up then. They drink more. They can use gentle nutrients without shock or waste. When days are short, growth slows. In winter or in a dim room, the plant idles. Metabolism slows. The plant doesn't eat as much. Fertilizer sits in the mix unused and the salt level climbs. Roots feel it first. Tips singe. Leaves dull. We think they need more food, but what they need is better timing and clean water. So we change the rhythm. Fertilize only during active growth. If your room runs dark or the sun sits low, hold the fertilizer or cut the dose in half. You won't starve the plant. You'll prevent a salt stack that chases away that soft, healthy edge we want to keep. Let's make the method calm and repeatable. Use a liquid or water mixable granular fertilizer and mix it at half strength of the package directions. Feed every 4 to 6 weeks while you see new leaves unfolding. If growth pauses, skip the next feeding. Resume when you see clear signs of motion again. Short, simple rule. It keeps roots safe and your routine easy to remember. Light sets the pace, so here are concrete targets you can trust. In low light, feed once a year at most. In medium light, 2 to 3 times a year is enough. In high light, aim for about 4 times a year. These guardrails match what the plant can actually use. They keep nutrients moving through leaves, not piling up in the pot. Your potting mix matters. Fast-draining blends move water quickly, which sounds perfect. But as that water leaves, salts can linger and rise toward the surface. Smaller, more thoughtful doses fit these mixes best. Think of a sponge you dampen rather than soak. Enough to feed, not enough to crust. Light is our gentle lever. Add brightness a little at a time. An extra hour near a bright window or a move closer to a sheer curtain can wake growth without scorch. More light means more energy. More energy means your plant uses nutrients instead of storing them in the soil. Feed becomes fuel rather than debris. A quick, real-world guide helps. Peace lilies in bright, indirect light accept light feeding during their active stretch, but skip fertilizer in winter or in low light. Pothos keep up with a small dose in growth, and they're happy with a pause when they slow. Snake plants are the tortoises of the group. They need very little. Feed lightly only in their true growth window and then rest them. Before each feeding, ask 2 small questions. Do I see new growth? Is the light strong and steady? If you answer no to either, wait. Your plant will thank you with calmer leaves and fewer brown tips. This is a gift that keeps giving, my dear garden-loving friends. Less guesswork, more grace. When you do feed, water through first. Then apply your diluted mix to already moist soil. This spreads nutrients evenly and lowers the chance of root burn. After feeding, let excess drain. We never want fertilizer sitting in the saucer. What runs out is not wasted. It's protection against spikes in the root zone. If a month goes by and growth is slow, skip. If growth resumes, restart at half strength. Space feedings 4 to 6 weeks apart in active growth. Stop entirely in winter or any slump, and pair this with a gentle flush now and then. Next, we'll set an easy, steady cadence that takes all the guesswork out. Let's set a calm pattern you can follow without fuss. Your gentle maintenance rhythm. A simple routine keeps salts low and roots relaxed. Here's the secret. We'll respond to what the plant shows us rather than chasing a fixed calendar. If you grow heavy feeders or your home has hard water, you may end up flushing a few times a year, but let signs lead the way. When you spot crust, gritty soil down low, or creeping tip burn, schedule a reset. For tougher plants, the snake plant and the ZZ, wait for clear signs. They sip slowly and store energy, so they rarely need frequent leaching. Balance matters. Overflushing can loosen some mixes and wash out structure. We won't do that. Watch the plant's response and adjust. If the soil dries as usual and leaves hold color, you're on track. If the mix stays soggy longer than normal, space the next flush farther apart. Steady and gentle wins. Make a monthly check your anchor. Scan the rim and saucer for a pale crust. Peek at the top layer for stray grains. If you find a chalky ring or a light film on your skewer, that's your cue to flush. If not, stay the course. During active months, be ready to act when signs appear. In slow months, only flush when those signs show. This keeps the routine plant responsive and saves water. Dust is a quiet thief, my dear garden-loving friends. It coats leaves, blocks light, and slows the plant's breathing. Treat leaf cleaning as general care that boosts health all around. Once a month, wipe each leaf with a damp cloth or sponge. Support the leaf with your hand. Clean both sides. Small plants can take a dip in room temperature water and drain well. Clean leaves use water and nutrients more efficiently. That means fewer salts left behind. Build a simple humidity habit in winter, then keep it modest. Heating dries the air and pushes us to water more often. Group your plants so they share a little moisture, or set a pebble tray under a few pots with water below the top of the stone. The air gets a soft lift. You water less. Salts creep slower. Give light a nudge toward even growth with a quick quarter turn each week. The plant meets light on all sides, keeps a steady shape, and uses nutrients more evenly. Consistent exposure supports metabolism, which keeps minerals moving through leaves instead of parking in the soil. Think of this like a tidy kitchen routine. We check the shelf, wipe the counter, and restock only when needed. Your plant shelf is the same. Check. Flush when signs say so. Feed during growth. Hold steady in low light. This small cadence brings calm to the whole corner. You'll see proof. After 2 cycles guided by signs, flush when needed, light feeding in real growth, tips stay clean. New leaves lay down smooth edges. Color holds. You won't chase problems week to week. You'll simply keep time, like winding a clock and letting it run. Keep drainage honest. Saucers stay empty after watering. Cash pots are only covers, not bathtubs. Let the last drips leave before the plant goes back to its spot. Water through on watering day, then give the soil time to breathe. The mix resets between sessions and roots stay comfortable. Now that your rhythm is set, we'll turn to what comes right after a flush, when roots need a calm pause and a few gentle touches. Let's shift into the calm reset that follows a rinse. Recovery mode. After the flush, you've rinsed the trouble out. Now we help the roots feel safe again. Here's the secret. After a flush, the best gift is rest. Let the pot drain fully. Leave it on a rack or a dry towel until the last drip stops. Then set it back in its spot and do nothing extra. No fertilizer for at least 6 months. Roots need a long, quiet window to rebuild those tiny tips that do the drinking. Feeding now stacks fresh salts right where we just cleared them. I know the urge to feed is strong. We want to replace what washed out. Resist. New fertilizer in this moment is like loading a shelf before the brackets are tight. It sags. Give stability first, food later. That patience keeps edges smooth and keeps water moving the right way inside the plant. Keep the focus tight on salts and roots. Trim only what's clearly done. Crispy tips or leaves that are more brown than green. Leave working green tissue in place so it can power repair. We're not reshaping the plant right now. We're protecting function while the root zone calms. Watering gets calmer now. Wait until the top inch of soil dries before you water again. Use clean water, rain, filtered, or your regular tap if that's what you have, and pour slowly. Let extra drain away. Do not let the pot sit in runoff. Empty the saucer right away. Proper drainage is non-negotiable here, because standing water invites root rot and pulls dissolved salts back into the zone we just cleared. Give your plant bright, indirect light. Close to a window with a sheer curtain works well. The light should be strong enough to cast a soft shadow, but not harsh. This fuels gentle growth without stress. Avoid sudden moves into full sun. After a flush, leaves are sensitive. They want steady, not blazing. Air matters. Good airflow dries the leaf surface after watering and keeps fungus at bay while the plant resets. A small fan across the room on low is enough, or open a window for a short, mild draft in warmer weather. Skip cold blasts from an exterior door. Sudden chills make leaves curl and stall. install recovery. If the soil feels tight, give it a light aeration before the next watering. A chopstick or a thin dowel is perfect. Slide it down around the edge of the pot. A few gentle pokes, not deep tunnels. This breaks small crusts and reduces channeling. Water spreads evenly next time instead of racing down one path and leaving dry pockets behind. Think of recovery like mending a tear in a sleeve. You stitch first, then wear it gently. In a few weeks, your plant should show a quiet sign, new growth with smooth edges. Tips look cleaner. Color brightens a notch. You won't see fireworks. You'll see steadiness. That is proof the flush worked and the roots trust their space again. If a week passes and leaves droop, check the basics. Is the pot still heavy? Wait to water. Is the room cold or drafty? Shift it away from vents. Are there puddles in the saucer after you water? Empty them right away. Small, salt-savvy tweaks keep the reset on track. Stay with this gentle pause, my dear garden-loving friends. What comes next is a simple truth that makes care feel lighter and results more certain. As we wrap up, here's the conclusion in plain steps you can trust. Here's the secret, my dear garden-loving friends. It's not you, it's the salts. A calm 5-minute leach gives roots a clean slate. Use about 5 times the pot's volume. Let it drain fully, and avoid fertilizing for at least 6 months. Keep drainage honest. Real holes, empty saucers, no standing water. Then feed only during real growth, at half strength, and less often in low light. Simple, gentle, and it works. If this helped, hit that like button and share it with a friend who waters with love. Drop your questions below. I'm here for you. Subscribe for more Golden Seniors Living Garden wisdom.